Let's get into a quick take. Sean McVay told reporters yesterday that Matt Stafford will practice in Saturday's workout, testing the aggravated disc in the veteran quarterback's back. Stephen A., are you worried that Stafford may miss actual game time?
Absolutely. He's 37 years old with a bad back, playing football.
That's tough.
There's no way in hell that he's not going to have a situation where his back is where his health is not compromised. A bad back is a bad back. That is something that's serious to deal with. Now, I don't particularly care that much because I think they're a good enough team to win a few games and ultimately to get to the playoffs. He can't miss the whole season, please don't get me wrong. But as long as that brother is ready for the playoffs, we good. But I expect him to miss a few games.
Listen, my whole thing is, number one, he hasn't taken one snap in training camp.
Not one.
Not one snap. And it's not about, whether he's ready for week one. Can you hold up for 17 weeks?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why
at 37
week
years old,
one ain't the priority.
Right, exactly. Like,
I don't care if you got to wait till week 5.
Listen, when you talk about backs, those things can act up at any time. So that's what my concern is for Matthew Stafford.
Baby, if I had a bad back, 17 weeks of regular life would be challenging, let alone for football. So I totally get it. But let's keep it moving, shall we?
We appreciate that heads up.
You're welcome. The Chiefs wideout, Rashee Rice, is expected to have his disciplinary hearing with the NFL on September 30th. Last month, Rice was sentenced to 30 days in jail and 5 years probation for his role in a multi-car crash. Rice is likely to be able to play the first 4 weeks of the season before any potential discipline is imposed. Through 3 weeks last season, Rashee Rice was leading the NFL in catches and ranked second in receiving yards. Then an injury to his right knee in week 4 ended his season. Patrick Mahomes was at his best in 2024 when he targeted Rice, completing 75% of those passes and is averaging 9 yards per target. All right, so a lot to take in, but Mina Kimes joins us now. Hey, friend, you look lovely.
Oh, thank you.
We're going to get into this Chiefs offense, Mina, and the question is this offense being underrated this season?
I think so. I think it's more likely not that this Chiefs offense finishes as a top 5 unit or just outside the top 5. And, I think folks remember them from the Super Bowl, the offensive line getting destroyed by the Eagles. But the reality was, while the Chiefs offense wasn't explosive for most of last season, probably all of last season, they were one of the most efficient offenses in the league, finishing top 10 in success rate, DVOA. They had the highest time of possession per drive of any team in the NFL, second highest third down conversion rate. And now you reintroduce Rashee Rice back into the mix. He's going to be suspended at some point. He's going to miss a few games. But having him for much of the season and certainly at the end in the playoffs is so massive. I feel like it's being slept on a bit. You highlighted it there with those stats. Before he got hurt, and in the second half of his rookie season, he was one of the most productive receivers in football. I think he was exactly what this Chiefs offense was missing last year. So to get him back, coupled with hopefully some improvements on the offensive line over the course of the year, and oh yeah, by the way, Patrick Mahomes, still the best quarterback on earth. I just think this Chiefs offense, to me, is going to be better than last year. And last year, they were still pretty damn good.
I don't think it's about them being it's about us doubting their abilities in terms of the score of football. You got Patrick Mahomes behind the quarterback spot. You know what you're capable of, particularly if you protect them. Now, they've lost both Super Bowls by more than 18 points. There's only one other quarterback in history that has had multiple Super Bowl losses by that kind of margin, and that's John Elway. So, if there's a negative connotation to be attached to Patrick Mahomes, that would be it. That would be all, because the brother is pretty close to perfection when it comes to what his abilities are behind the quarterback position in terms of winning. But in the end, they're not sitting here as the reigning defending Super Bowl champions, Mina. It is him. It is the Philadelphia Eagles. And we got to take into account what happened. He couldn't be protected. They got slaughtered. Just like he couldn't be protected against Tampa. They got slaughtered. What are we talking about when we talk about Baltimore? It's not just Lamar Jackson. And we talk about what their defense could do. We talk about what Buffalo's defense could do. We're talking about what the Denver Broncos defense is projected and speculated to be able to do. So all of those things give us an indication that the road to prosperity is going to be a bit more difficult for the Kansas City Chiefs this year than it has been in recent memory. You look at their dominance, for crying out loud. I mean, they've won the AFC West every single year. They've been to about 6 AFC championship games. And, they've been pretty damn dominant. At some point in time, people are saying it's got to end. And I think that this year is the year that it does.
Listen, I think I've said this many times this offseason. The Kansas City Chiefs had the worst offensive personnel last year in the Patrick Mahomes era. Like, there's nowhere for them to go but up this year. And think about this. Last year, they had a guard playing tackle. Guard playing tackle. Their top wide receiver was injured most of the year. Hollywood Brown was injured a good chunk of the season. Okay, a diminished Travis Kelce. Isaiah Pacheco's hurt, and all they did was go 15-2. Think about that. All they did was go 15-2. And so now when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, they've made improvements on the offensive line, particularly at left tackle. Okay, all the guys that I just mentioned as far as being injured, those guys are getting back.
Yeah.
Those guys are coming back healthy. Isaiah Pacheco is going to be back at the running back position. And so you would think now that not only are they going to be in a more efficient offense, but they're going to be in a more explosive offense because all the memories. See, I think here's the thing with the Kansas City Chiefs. We have so many memories of the Kansas City Chiefs with Tyreek Hill, those explosive plays. But I think what you look at is they evolved. They have evolved as an offense, but I think they will be much more explosive this year.
To all of your point, Patrick Mahomes had a career worst 36 sacks last year. Obviously, Travis Kelce put up career low numbers in terms of his receiving yards. So everybody agrees that this offense is being underrated currently.
Yes, but let me say this, and I'm glad that I'm going to say this with Mina here because this lady knows her football, so you'll get where I'm coming from, Mina. When I bring this up, there's certain numbers, Woody. You know, there's certain numbers, Mina, that we just can't ignore. Let me throw a couple of Super Bowl stats to you because that's the last time we really saw them, right? I had my research get this. I just want to remind America and the world what we all saw. The Kansas City offense, the Super Bowl 59, did not pass midfield until the last few minutes of the third quarter.
Oh, man.
The first 9 drives into the third quarter, they had 6 punts, 2 interceptions, and 1 turnover on downs. They became the first team all season, regular season or postseason, where the offense didn't run a single play in the opponent's territory in its first 9 drives. 12 of Kansas City's 13 offensive drives went for 5 plays or less. What I'm saying to you, I understand, Mina, because not only did I watch and not only do I know, but I'm brilliant because I know I'm not. I steal brilliance for people like yourself, Mina. I learned from you and Notorious Woody here. Here's the deal. When that residue of that beatdown is embedded in our memories, you know it's in theirs. And all I'm saying to you is the aura of invincibility came along with their success.
That's true.
And I'm saying that has gone away now. Now you're looking at them like, if we could just get to him. If we could just find a way to get to him just a second quicker. I mean, we could do something. I'm just saying, if you're an opponent in the National Football League, you don't look at them with the same aura of invincibility that you were looking at them before that beatdown. And I know they got beat down against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but that was, you remember, that was COVID. You know, or there's so much that happened in that season, you know. This was different last year.
Mina, I'm not going to hold you, Mina. For me, this was one of the bigger sporting event letdowns I think I had ever been a part of because you were expecting such a great game, and it was not that.
That was an ass kicking.
But I think, Stephen A., you just brilliantly laid out why the Chiefs' offense is underrated, because we as football fans have the memories of ants and only remember the last time we saw them. And yes, the last time we saw them, they were getting beat down by the Eagles because of their offensive line. But you have to take a bigger picture view. The fact that they got to the Super Bowl with, as Damien correctly said, the worst offensive skill players of Patrick Mahomes' career, doesn't that make you think, gosh, they got there last year with those players and those issues. Why shouldn't they be better this season with Rashee Rice returning with the investments that they've made in the offensive line?
I appreciate that, Eminem. Mina, let me ask you a question real quick. Let me just ask you a question because I love you. Do you like your boxing? Do you like boxing?
I like it.
Okay, let me tell you something right now. You do know there's a difference between getting clipped. You get caught. Anybody can get caught. Bah! Okay? And getting your butt kicked. Like somebody walking through you and just, you know, I shouldn't bring this up because I actually got love. I actually love the brother. I actually love the brother. But there's a difference between Pacquiao getting caught by one punch from Juan Manuel Marquez and from the beatdown Errol Spence took at the hands of Terrence Crawford. You see the difference? There's certain things that are just very, very, very difficult to recover from. You got to go out there and play again. No doubt. Kansas City's going to be formidable. We know they're no joke. But when you look at what happened to them, you do find yourself saying, damn, they can be had. You can't. It's one of them things that somebody gets to them. Yeah. And somehow, some way, somebody's touching Patrick Mahomes a bit more than usual. It might remind them of Super Bowl 59. And that residue might affect you.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Since we're talking about boxing right now.
Oh, here we go.
So we talk about boxing.
Yes.
Do you believe in styles make fights?
Yes.
So in the case of the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, you could arguably make the case that that was a horrible matchup for the Kansas City Chiefs.
But what if Denver could get to Patrick Mahomes like that? What if Baltimore could get to Patrick Mahomes like that? What if Buffalo could get to Patrick Mahomes like that? We got a different problem.
But they didn't.
We got a problem. Hold on.
They didn't. I feel like by your logic, the Chiefs losing in the Super Bowl was worse than those other teams who lost to the Chiefs along the way.
I think that, no. What I'm saying is because you got humbled to that degree, I think that affects you a little bit.
You think the psychological effect with the other?
I think it's going to affect them a little bit. I just believe this. I just believe it.
I will just say this, though. I do think, and maybe the run by the Chiefs that had previously been so dominant is totally worthy of respect. But I do think sometimes success is not always linear, right? And we've seen that across sports. Woody, you have said it. All of our NFL analysts have said how hard it is to get back repeatedly.
Well, I would say that success is rented. And is rented and payment is due every single day you're out there. Okay. And so for the Kansas City Chiefs, they've been on top for a long time. Here's my only thing I'll say to you, Stephen A.
Okay.
As much as you talk about the beatdown with Philadelphia and so on and so forth, Josh Allen still hasn't gotten past him.
That's fair.
Oh, child.
Lamar Jackson still hasn't gotten past him.
That's what Mina's saying, too. I hear y'all loud and clear. I hear y'all loud and clear. But they ain't the same.
The only two people that's gotten past Patrick Mahomes is the great Tom Brady.
You could be punch drunk. You could be punch drunk.
And now, okay.
All right.
Well, all right.
That was passionate.
We got to go.